Hello everyone, this is Days, and today I want to talk to you guys about my own personal minor understanding of the philosophy or concept of the Will of Fire from Naruto Shippuden. I'm going to assume that you finished the show if you're watching this video, and so with that in mind, let's get started. There aren't really any spoilers, so don't worry about it. Many years after finishing the show and having been there for the ending of the manga, only recently have I truly understood what the creator of the manga, Kishimoto-san, meant by the Will of Fire, or Hinoishi in Japanese. For some reason, the concept of the Will of Fire stuck with me when it was introduced to me in the show, and I didn't understand why, but it did, and I had respect for the symbol and its meaning. So much so that I actually wanted to tattoo the symbol on my body. In case you're not sure what the symbol means, it's essentially the willingness to never give up and always keep moving and chasing your dreams no matter how hard it gets. It's an ideal unique to the people of Konoha. Now, due to the recent events of the lockdown and the worsening global economy, I've been pretty much forced out of the comfort zone, which led me to become almost completely independent and forced me to pay bills that I never had to worry about before, like internet, phone, and electricity bills, considering that I still live in my parents' house. But due to the recent economical crisis, my family withdrew back to the village house, leaving me alone in the city apartment, forcing me to handle all the expenses of the apartment on my own, because I refused to self-quarantine in the village. Couple that with a few backstabs from some of my closest people, triggering a deadly rage within me that I've been struggling to keep under control for a long time now. A rage which is a result of traumatic past experiences which I will not get into. But the rage is strong enough to make me have some very dangerous thoughts. Thoughts that I always manage to defeat in the end, thanks to having trustworthy friends that listen and try to understand how I feel, allowing me to freely express how I feel about the world, and helping me learn about the human nature and about myself during my rants to them. Letting me let out all of my negative thoughts and understand them and how to turn that negative energy into something I can use for good rather than lose myself in my own ire. To give you an idea of this fury, despite having never been sold the idea of meditation, I decided to actually take a suggestion from a dear friend to finally begin meditating by getting into some of the Buddhist teachings in order to control this anger of mine. The first book I will be getting into is The Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki. I've just started listening to the audiobook, so I can't give any kind of feedback yet. However, I've come to an understanding of the Will of Fire without having to read the book. Because of the sense of urgency and the threat of poverty due to the pandemic forced upon us by the globalists, on top of feeling betrayed by people that are supposedly family, it sparked the fire of youth within me. The very fire that Kishimoto talks about through the character Guy. A will of fire, so to say. This turned my rage into motivation to prove to myself and the world that I can overcome all the odds that are weighing on me. A fire that made me want to turn the world into a place that I want to live in. A place where social distancing isn't a thing. A place where the so-called new normal isn't accepted. A place where I can form human connection and hug my friends and feel like I have a backbone of trustworthy people and have a strong sense of communion. A place that I would be willing to die for in order to achieve. A world where I would be glad to bring children to. Free of dystopian technocrats that are trying to control every aspect of my life and how and what I should feel, talk, eat, like, learn, and want. A place where freedom is for everyone, and every individual is truly liberated, where freedom of thought is not a sin, and people possess enough emotional intelligence and awareness to listen to each other, take criticism, discuss, and further rationalize their own stances on matters. This will of fire that I'm talking about, which is definitely quite a bit stronger when you're still young and full of endurance, which lets you be angry at the injustices, going around you, the will to challenge everyone, and live up to your own highest standards no matter how much the odds are against you. Be honorable, defend your loved ones, and honor those that lift you up when you fall. This rage of mine, which I can confidently say that I still have under control before I even got into the Buddhist teachings, has made me feel alive again, despite how dangerous it is. Of course, in order to feel this positive anger, an emotional power-up, let's say, you must eliminate whatever is keeping that fire down and whatever is mellowing you out, be it emotional, like depression or PTSD, or material, like drugs or alcohol, or even soft drugs like weed, which I'm guilty of abusing. I may have felt like it was helping me at the time, but in reality, it was keeping my fire at a minimum, keeping me laid back and almost senseless of what I'm doing to myself. Too lazy to even get up and work out and preserve this vessel of mine. And it was keeping my spirits down, not letting me get angry enough at the pathetic situation that I've kept myself in. After recognizing that and having gotten rid of that addiction, the fire within was reigniting, and I've begun to understand why this anger at myself is definitely needed to improve and get off my ass, work out, become stronger physically and mentally, pick up a skill, commit to it, and stay committed for long enough to make money off of it after working on the skill, which is editing in my case, and having put myself out there by attempting to make professionally edited videos. With the help of some of the dearest people to me, I've gotten some kind of recognition, at least enough to pay the bills and put some food on the table. I'm making ends meet, to say the least, and I intend to keep my aim upwards and continue advancing in that upwards mobility and momentum that I've set out for myself. The lesson here is no matter how much despair you find yourself in, you are able to take matters into your own hand, stand up, chest forward, shoulders back with your head up, challenging the world and forging it into a place that you would want your kids to live in. This is my understanding of the will of fire that Kishimoto was trying to tell us about through Naruto, and I understood why Lord Gwyn was willing to do everything in his power, even giving up his life to keep the fire going for the next generation. Eventually, I've understood that I don't need to brand myself with a tattoo of the symbol of the will of fire, because it essentially lives within me. I must not let it die out. And you shouldn't either. No matter the struggle, take the leap and don't lose yourself to the hardships of the world, because no matter what people tell you, life is truly beautiful, but you must prove yourself to be worthy of that beauty and reach the end of that tunnel and bask in the light of your hard work and achievements.